Hello, Sainers, and welcome to episode 5 of the Saints Nation podcast. I am joined by Cooper and Bem once again for this week's episode.
Yeah, not happy this week.
It's good to be back.
Not happy this week.
It's good to be back. Had the week off, just a bit too hard to plan everything with the public holidays and the Easter break, so I just took the week off and would have been very happy talking about the match against the Bulldogs.
Definitely not. Did we enjoy our weekends at least?
Yeah, I did watch WrestleMania. Yeah. What about you guys?
Didn't get up to too much, to be honest. Just sort of stayed at home, did a bit of uni work, and worked outside of that. What about you, Cooper?
I was at that Saints Dogs game.
Yeah.
Stayed the whole time.
We all were. It was shit.
It wasn't fun.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, thankfully we have round 7 to talk about against the Lions today.
Thankfully.
That's not even
Yeah.
that much better.
It was much better than the Bulldogs game. We also have the player of the week to go over, of course, the injuries, who's in, who's out, and the fan questions. So as we head into round 8, our current record sits at 3-4, which is probably better than what we would have thought at this point of the year.
I kind of take it, to be honest. Looking at round 5,
It's a win.
I thought we were going to be 2-3. Split the next 2 games, 1-1 against the Bulldogs and Lions, and take that every day of the week.
What about you, Cooper?
Yeah, same.
You'll take it?
Great as
Yeah.
that.
Sorry.
But yeah, let's get into round 7 against the Lions now. And Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller, he was a star, has been a star all year, but especially in the second half of this game.
Yeah. I saw that he was the 46th rated player on the ground in the first half.
Yeah.
Which, if you didn't know, is worse than all the subs combined. So he had negative ratings.
What?
Yeah. He was 46th out of 46.
Yeah, which does not make sense.
No. And then in the second half, he was number 1 on the ground.
Yeah.
So take that for what you will.
And,
Put him in midfield to see what happens.
well, yeah, to me, that is mainly because of his move into the midfield. Had a career-high 56 centre bounce attendances, was only behind McRae, Steele and Marshall.
Yep.
And the second he went in there, like, our complete game plan changed. And I wonder if he's the one that we can turn into that game-breaking, goal-kicking mid that we've targeted for so long when you think of, like, the LDUs of the world that we've gone after. It's a bit of a different prototype of player, but...
I still think we have one just coming probably back this week or next week. He'll be that.
Yeah, he for Naz, it's a potential of if he can move into the midfield. For Philippou, it's if he can just get his body right and actually start playing, because we know that's what he's going to be. For Naz, it's if he can get there. We already know Philippou is going to be that player. And having 2 would be awesome. It would be absolutely awesome, and I would love to see it, to be honest. But it'll be interesting because getting, again, 56% in centre bounces, and that's all from the second half as well. I thought it was definitely a good move because you saw we started winning it. In the third quarter, we actually got 3 centre bounce goals in a row. Well, not centre bounce goals, but 3 centre clearances in a row, which we didn't do for the entire first half. So when he got moved in there, we started winning the ball. And whether it was just him or whether it was just a switch, I think will be the question to ask. And it also depends on who comes back this week, because there's going to be a lot of changes with that absolutely dreadful performance.
And could definitely be at least 3 mids coming in, and Philippou, Clark and Boxall, who we'll talk about a bit later. But another move I liked a lot was Ross Lyon making moves with Hugo Garcia getting subbed off. Has caught a bit of flack in the media, mainly from Kate McCarthy, but everyone else seemed pretty fine with it and were overly pretty happy about it, that sort of angry Ross is back. It's not more, cuddly Ross style football. And how do we feel about Hugo Garcia getting subbed off in the bit of a spray that he copped?
Well, I was at the game, unfortunately, and when I saw that Zach Jones was on, I'm like, it was interesting to see who gets subbed out here, because I thought there could have been 10 players very clearly.
Did we not message you that Hugo was getting subbed off?
Yeah, but I saw Zach Jones before that.
Okay.
And so I found it very interesting that it was Hugo Garcia, because I thought there genuinely could have been 5 players more deserving of being subbed out than Hugo. I thought his disposal efficiency wasn't great, but at the same time, he just wasn't the worst one there.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't doing anything with the ball, but he wasn't turning it over either. I found that, again, he's a young player, and it's a big statement to make. But if you do it to an experienced player, I'd argue that's an even bigger decision to make, and it'd probably make more of an impact on some of the players there. It's like, okay, we're taking out whoever, Jack McRae, whatever. it's a huge sign rather than taking out a younger player. It's just sort of like the older players thinking they can get away with it almost. And that's the way that I see it in terms of, was it the right decision? But in terms of the response afterwards, I love seeing that from Ross. I don't think we've seen enough of that from him, to be honest, because we've always seen the team responding after a poor half or after a poor quarter. We didn't see it at all in that second quarter. We were worse than in that first quarter. And I found it really good to see because it shows that he's going to find that balance between Cuddly Ross and old Ross. And we need to see it more because as we just showed, we are not that good of a list. And our players aren't that good.
Yeah.
I think with that, internally, it was very well received too. I think everybody in the club actually liked what he did.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that, and especially like the mature age thing. But for Garcia in this instance, I think it's less about what he did do to get subbed off and more about what he didn't do that led to him getting subbed off.
There was clearly something that won't be probably talked about too outside of the club, but there was clearly something he failed to do, which he'll cop on a chin. He'll probably go back to the twos, but he'll come back, I reckon.
Yeah. But someone who definitely won't be playing twos this week, Jack Higgins, Mr. Consistent now, I think we can start calling him, has kicked 3 or more goals in 5 of his 7 matches this year and has never kicked under 2, so
that's really good.
It's pretty good
for
Higgins.
I think we always know how good of a small forward he can be. Like, he's always shown he can kick 4 goals every second game, but we've never seen this type of consistency for him. And for him to take this leap when we need it, I think is really, really good. And he didn't do a Stephen Milne of kicking 11 goals against Brisbane, but it was good enough. It was definitely good enough.
Good enough, yeah. Fair enough.
100%.
I think AA Jacket probably a lock at the moment.
Easily
the best small forward 100%. In the comp.
Easily, yep. So now he is tied second in the Coleman with Josh Tracy, who we have to go up against later this week. So we'll preview that a bit later on. But for me, along with Jack Higgins, I thought Hill and Steele were both back to their best.
For sure.
100%.
Like Hill was driving that ball use off of half back, whilst we couldn't do anything forward of the ball. He was still driving it, and Steele was better. I'm not going to say he was good because I definitely don't think he was good, but he was at least in and under. And I think his ball winning was a lot better than what it had been to start the year. But a lot of other aspects of his game, I still think were down.
Yeah, 100%. You got to talk?
Am I going? Yeah, well...
You are the third member of the podcast.
Sorry. Well, as you said, I think Hill very well on the ball movement off the back half, but obviously nothing could go forward. And then Steele, I agree, actually. I'm basically repeating what you said, but I know he had the stats, but it's just the influence on the actual game just wasn't as good as it could have been.
At times.
Yeah.
I remember there was one play where... I can't remember how we got the ball, but we worked it around through our hands to the other side of the wing, and he just couldn't pick up the ball. Yeah. And then he tried to turn around, his opponent got tackled, and then dived on his knees basically to get the free kick in his back. And even after that, he just couldn't find the right target, and he just doesn't have that burst of pace anymore. He's not as clean as he was 2 years ago, and it's just really frustrating to watch because we know how good he can be.
Yeah.
And if he needs a rest, if he needs a couple of weeks in the twos to be able to get back to his form, just do it. I understand he's the captain, and that obviously brings a lot.
Manage him.
But exactly, there's nothing wrong with managing him. We know the injury toll he's had on his body. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing it.
And that's why I think it's mainly a fitness issue with Steele. Like, that burst isn't there, like you said, but also his tackling game. Like, how many years in a row did he lead the AFL in tackles? And that's just completely lost right now.
To put it bluntly, no offense to Jack Steele, but with this list we've got, he's just not leadership material at the moment.
No.
Yeah, when the list, we've almost gutted the list completely now, and we are getting a lot of youth in. We've hit the draft for 3 straight years, probably going to do it for a 4th this year, I'd say.
Yep.
You need someone who's going to be able to get the younger players to look up to. And Steele a couple of years ago was probably that. Like 2023, he was really leading from the front.
Yep.
But he's just not that anymore, to be honest. And whether he gets back to it, I don't know. That's going to be a question people inside the club are going to need to answer. But again, it's just a change that I think you can make. It's not going to affect anyone else other than him. And it could only affect him in a good way because it's already at the bottom for his play.
Yeah, 100%. And there is one man who I think has stood up when Jack Steele hasn't always been there at times, and that is our vice-captain, Callum Wilkey was great again on the weekend.
This is somebody who's the exact opposite to Steele at the moment with the leadership material that he's got. He's just really leading this young back line, I think, really well. Even though they're getting scored on, they're maturing each game, I feel like, under his leadership.
Yeah, there was a play late. I think Eric Hipwood took a mark. It was like third or fourth quarter, and you could just see how angry he was on the field. Like, that is someone, to me, who was leadership material and will be captain in 2025.
2026.
2026, yeah. Well, he could be. We could name it this year.
That would be a huge call. That would be outrageous.
Would that be the first ever time, surely?
Nah.
You'd have to think so. Surely.
Captains have been dropped before.
No, but
no.
just
stripped of captaincy. That'd have to be the first time.
Besides, there'll be some case that they had to strip somebody off a captaincy, but just for performance based, I don't think so.
Okay.
You wouldn't do that, surely.
No.
But I'm surprised they didn't go co-captains this year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They would.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's too late to go co-captains next year. I think it's just going to be a swap next year.
Yeah.
One would hope so.
Steele might still be leadership group, but...
And I think, this is a bit of an odd example now because he hasn't had it for a couple of years now, but Travis Boak, the fact that he doesn't have to lead that club anymore. Yeah. He's played on to how old is he now? 35,
36, I think, yeah.
He's still playing pretty good footy.
What is he, nearing 400 now?
He's just, about that 350, 400.
No, not close.
Just the burden of being a captain at times for a club, takes so much away from them on and off the field. And I think just that changeover from Steele to Wilkey will just help Steele out a lot.
Especially with the position we're in at the moment. Steele was got the captaincy off a semi-final exit, and then obviously everybody thought we were going to keep improving, so he's going to lead a successful team, and it's really not gone what you would expect. So
I mean, we also had the 1 year where they were both vice captains,
co-captains.
Co-captaincy.
That was 2021.
Yeah. So I mean,
Geary barely played.
Geary, besides that, I swear the last time I actually saw him play was at Ealing final.
I
remember him up against Sydney. He returned and then he just got injured straight away.
Yeah,
I think that was his last.
Yeah, I reckon it was.
He was a proper saner. We love Gears.
Yeah,
we love Gears.
Mate, get him back. He's at the Bulldogs at the moment. Bring him back.
Is he at the Bulldogs?
Yeah,
really.
Development coach.
Jeez. Yes. Don't know how much he's going to develop players, but
he's leadership material.
Yeah, okay. A couple of other players that I thought were good. Zach Jones continues to sort of make an impact when we're at home. Not really when we're away from home, but
he doesn't like flying.
Clearly not.
No.
He's missing his kids every time he does. Yeah. But I think for him, it's all about that burst of speed. He's a defensive-minded midfielder, and he is quite quick off the burst now. He wasn't that last year, but he is now again. Yeah. And that was why we got him in the first place. And we don't have that. Obviously, Windy, Steele, McRae, that none of them are quick. They're all slow midfielders. So it provides that bit of difference. And Hugo as well, he's not really quick. And so that's sort of why he's been a much better player. But again, aside from him, there's just slowness in the midfield.
Yeah, which is why I think he needs to be playing full games. Just right now, until a Philippou can come in, until a Travalia can come in.
A question with relation to Zach Jones. If he keeps performing just, what is he doing, averagely? Not amazing, but
he's doing
not
okay.
horrible.
Yeah.
Would you give him another year next year?
At this rate, I probably wouldn't.
Wouldn't? Yeah.
Just because, we need to essentially just back in players eventually. We need to back in even just a Ronnie Burns just to step up into that spot. I know, Bam, you're not a fan, but even just the young boys, Bolshall, Travalia, he's keeping them out at the moment. Even Hunter Clark, he's keeping him out at times. I think, I think we all love Zachy Jones, but I think at the end of the year, I think it might be time to move on from him.
And more importantly, he's gatekeeping that number 3. I need to go somebody.
TDK. TDK.
He's taking a 15.
And,
Sorry.
One man who we shouldn't be getting rid of at the end of the year, Liam Stocker. No. He just, week in and week out, shows up for this team. Might not always be at the top of the stat sheet, but his just on-field impact is just there every week.
That physicality that we need. I remember a play, I think it might have been in the third quarter, where he was running back with this is when we were surging back. I think it might have been after we kicked those 3 goals. He was running back with the fighter, did that fantastic spoil in the back pocket, and it's just like, that's what you need. That's what premiership teams have, that one player who just lays his body on the line.
Even a bump in the first quarter or early second, which Loman just flew because I don't know what he was doing, but
Nuffy. Yeah,
basically. I feel like he leads by example a lot. I feel like he has a lot of leadership capabilities too. Yeah. I feel like if he can keep playing to a performance, he could also be a very good leader in that back line.
He's one that, he's been getting 1-year contracts every year at the Saints, but if he gets a 2 or 3 year deal, he's one I think could easily join the leadership group.
I feel like he deserves a 2.
Yeah. If Dan Butler's in the leadership group, get Liam Stocker in there, to be honest.
100%.
He's taking our small forward to the West Coast Hawks game, all right? He's leading by example too.
Well, from one small forward to another, Maxie Hall has been continuing his great form in the early start of the season, being a really good role player. He's just doing his job every week. He's sort of playing that small forward wing role at times, moving up the ground, sitting at the back of stoppages as a clean, smart player. And with no Liam Henry, he's sort of taken that role, to be honest. Yeah. And obviously, you'd rather Liam Henry. And I think what we want from Liam Henry is similar to what Elijah Hollands did for Carlton on the weekend. Not sure if you boys watched that game.
I was working.
But yeah, the class that he showed and the connection that he showed from the mids to the forward line is what I want Liam Henry to do. At the moment, Max Hall is doing that. But again, it's just really good from a player who we got from mid-season draft.
So mid-season draft.
He's got such a underrated footy IQ too.
Yeah. 100%. He just, I don't know, he doesn't look like as clean as a footballer as he would be. I think he'd be the type to get in and under.
Maxie Hall.
He was in his box heel.
He was like a full-on mid at box heel.
He's a inside mid. If he eventually gets there, that'd be great. But I feel like he's quite clean if he... in a VFL wise.
Give him some centre bounces.
You might as well.
15 touches at 87% last week.
It's better than anything else we got in there, to be honest.
And then one man who is getting a lot of centre bounce attendances, Jack McRae, hasn't been at the form he maybe was in his first 3 weeks, but still a very important part of this team. 8 clearances from 26 touches on the weekend. It's almost just at a point now where I don't notice him, but not in a bad way, in a good way, because I'm just, I know he's not going to mess anything up.
He's a great addition to that midfield, just actually finding his own ball, which we've lacked a bit. Obviously, with Crouch out the last couple of years, we've actually lacked that. Or last year, sorry. With him out, we've lacked that, but I feel like if we can surround him with some good mids, as Filippo and Boxall hopefully can come through, maybe we could have
hopefully this week
enjoy a couple more years.
We need to surround him with non-like-for-likes. That's the problem. Steele, Windy, Hugo, they're almost different versions of Jack McRae. And if you get a Boxall in, if you get a Filippo, if you get a Hunter Clark in, if you get Naz in, they're just different players who can feed off what McRae does. Whereas if you got 3 or 4 players who are doing exactly what he does in just different forms, it just doesn't help him as a player.
Yeah, 100%. And that's probably it for the...
Just one thing.
Well, you go.
Well, I just remembered then. I think Mitch Owens played a little bit of mid in that second half. I feel like he played very well too, which is a little shout out to him.
He played. I think he was in a couple centre bounces. I don't know how many, but he also was that forward who was getting up to the stoppage. Yeah. And that's sort of where I saw a really good impact from him. Like you said, he got 3 goals early, or did he? Or was that last week? I think I'm getting my weeks confused.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. Okay. But he 2 really shit losses in a row makes it a bit confuzzled, but
he played very good inside mid.
Yeah,
attacked the ball. That's what you want.
We drafted him as an inside midfielder. He probably is a bigger body, he's a bigger body than McRae, and he could probably do that in and under to allow McRae to get that from him and then provide it to the outside. But I don't know now, because we did see some really good signs from him. Do we want to play him as a midfielder, or do we want to keep him in that forward role? And I think if Caminiti stays forward, if Keeler stays in the team, and then Sharman's still there, you almost have that freedom to then be able to go, hey, we might need you in here at times. Then let's use it.
I can't stand him in a ruck.
No one stands it. Which is why we need to get TDK in. So
please come, Tom.
Does not have to ruck anymore.
King, Marshall, Sharman, Owens. That's your forward line. Looks pretty good.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah, and that's probably...
We're going to win the flag with that.
That's probably it for the good stuff.
Saints fans talking about winning the flag. Great idea.
Good chance.
But on to the bad stuff now.
Which ones? All of them?
Look, it was just a terrible first quarter.
Yeah.
And, at times I was just worried we weren't even going to kick a goal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been a bit of a theme just for this year alone. I know it has been last year as well, where we really need to start good to win games. So our win rate when we win the first quarter this year is 3-1, and then when we lose the first quarter, it's 0-3, and then you extend that back to our pre-season as well. Up in the first quarter against Carroll, win that game. We've had 1 point against Port in the first quarter and lost that. So
that was a poor game to watch.
Pretty much, like, if we're up in the first quarter, get ready to put money on us because we'll win. But
chance.
If we're down, no way in hell we'll win.
Yeah. That first quarter looked really bad. I think, no offense to Jack Sinclair if you're watching, doubt it, but I think his defensive pressure was very bad in that first quarter, especially with, I noticed a lot Rayner coming from the centre bounces up, and then I think Sinclair was on him and just didn't go with him. So they basically just had another midfielder straight away in there.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams want to play with a spare. I think that's pretty clear to see. We want to be able to roll up and use our numbers, and so do they. They want to be able to get the ball movement going around the back of the ground. But yeah, as you said, Sinclair, he was nowhere near his best today. I don't think a lot of players were pretty clearly. But it's just difficult to see because we know that we need to start well. Like every time you go, we really need to start well, and the boys just don't come out and fight. And like in the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter in the huddle, Ross came out and absolutely sprayed him, and we still didn't see a bounce back like we normally do. I mentioned this earlier, but it's just really difficult to watch. And we do it in the third quarter a lot, where we have a bad half and then come out. And we did it again. We just got very unlucky with free kicks. But it was just absolutely shocking to watch in that first quarter. We were just nowhere, and we were so lucky that they did not kick accurately, because we could have been 10 goals behind almost. Yeah.
Do you think that the bad starts are like attributed to our what we believe is poor leadership at the moment?
It's definitely due to mindset and a bit due to leadership,
Like I'm guessing they're coming in going, we're going to get smashed today. Like, it's not going to be a good game. And then it's what happens. And then, like, the bounce back happened as soon as Zach Jones came in. And Zach Jones is fighting for a job, basically. And look what happens when you actually are trying.
Yeah, it's not fighting for your badge, but it's that urge to really play from the front and lead from the front. Like, if Jack Steele was at his best, we know he'd be leading from the front with his footy performance. And when you've got your captain being a midfielder and your midfielders are getting absolutely whacked, he's on Lachie Neale for the entire game. And not only does Lachie Neale kick the first goal of the game, he kicks 3 goals for the game.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it?
That's embarrassing stuff.
That's just lacking defensive running.
That's completely lacking everything. Not even just defensive running. That's lacking communication between other players if you want to hand off. I saw him hand off 3 times. Every single time he wasn't talking, and Lachie Neale got 5 metres of space just running out the stoppage. The amount of times I saw it on a contest in the front of the wing, right in front of me, where he was just 3 metres behind after the ball got tapped down, it's embarrassing. As a captain, you cannot be allowing that. And I saw Hugo Garcia go to him a couple of times, and he was with him, but again, there was about 1 metre space, and you just cannot allow Lachie Neale that. I was very surprised we didn't go with Windy on him, because I think Windy, that allows his game to evolve a little bit. And I thought he was really poor on the weekend. I thought his kicking was shameful. Like, the amount of kicks that he just could not hit, the amount of handballs. Oh my God, we are such a handball bad team. We are useless with using our hands. Completely useless. The amount of times we try to string 3 handballs together and we just screwed up. It's insane.
We get that one good passage a week and we're like, oh, there you go, there's
literally
something good.
How many times can you remember off the top of your head where we handballed it directly to the opponent?
Multiple
Not
times.
even that. Like, we had a handball receive and it's just like tapped out of their hands and it's just going up and it fumbled it.
Yeah. So, or the amount of times we'd handball in front of our player or over at the head of our player or kick it. The amount of times I saw us trying to kick to a player on the lead and they'd be behind them. That it's just basic skill errors that you cannot be failing at the AFL level. If you want to be an AFL footballer, those are the basics you need to complete at every single level. And the amount of players we had not doing it is unacceptable.
Yeah, 100%.
Fair enough.
And something else that was unacceptable, in our opinion, was the umpiring. Obviously,
shocking.
Not the only reason we lost the game. Brisbane, obviously, a much better team than us.
That's the only reason we lost the game.
At the end of the game, it was a 7-goal game.
45.
Just over.
Yeah.
They scored 7 goals from free kicks, I'm pretty sure.
So we lost by 3. Nice.
It wasn't even just the 7 goals from free kicks. It was the 3 goals in a row to close the third quarter that they got from free kicks.
Terrible.
Like, just plucking them out of nowhere. It was the exact same thing with the Bulldogs last week. Anytime we get momentum, Free kick.
Usually there's like one or two that I'm like, oh, I don't know if that free kick was there. The fact that it just kept happening.
Yep.
I'm like, what is going on here?
The Rowan Marshall one, about 45 directly in front. It was a ruck
big
on.
Yeah, it's McInerney. Yeah.
And, I forget who it was. I think it might have been Rowe again. It was like up on the wing, and they both had each other high, but the umpire was on one side of the ball, so they called, and so they couldn't see. That was Wilkey, sorry, and then Wilkey cracked it. I remember that, and that's another one, and it led to a goal that third quarter.
Yeah, straight up terrible umpiring, in my opinion. I'm not gonna go over anyone, in particular of the umpires. There was a bit of a bold one. It was a bit shit, but apart from that, the player of the week voting.
Yeah, well.
So, as voted by you guys, Nasiah Wanganeen Millera was the Sainer of the week, I believe, for the second time now. I think he got it against Port Adelaide. But for our voting, I went Jack Steele with the one vote. I thought he stepped up a bit this game. For my 2 votes, I've gone Jackie Higgins, and then for my 3, Nasiah, of course. What about you, Cooper?
Look, now looking on it, I'm not giving much love to Wilkey. Sorry, unfortunate. Sorry, Cal. But Liam Stocker gets the 1 for me. I think he's defensive pressure and want for the ball and want to win gets the 1. I think Higgins gets the 2 because the 3 goals and just best small forward in the comp right now. And then, I think everybody else, Nas gets the 3 because he just tore it off at half back and then also went in the midfield and played really well.
Yeah, pretty lovely goal.
Yeah, pretty comfortably gets the 3 votes. Nas, I gave 2 votes to Higgins, as you said, just the small forward work that he's providing. He's just found that consistency that we want to see. And if he continues it for the rest of the year, he will lock down that All-Australian. And he'll push for 50 goals. Seriously, push for 50 goals.
I think his career high is 36, so he's easily beating that.
Yeah, he could do that by round 15 this year. It's so impressive what he's done. And then I gave my 1 vote to Callum Wilkey. The way he just fights, the way he shows his leadership out the back, and he just really does not lose that many contests at all. And he's probably the only one in the back 50 who's not losing a contest at the moment. So I can't go past him.
It's the weekly update from Nas. Please don't leave.
Please. But
just stay.
Just on Higgins, he is on pace for 66 goals.
Jeez.
That is a sign. That has to be a sign.
That's good. When was the last time
he's played 7 games? So triple it by 3. Oh wow!
I think Eddie Betts kicked 67 once in 2017-ish.
It'd be the most for a small
for a while.
I think Toby kicked 60 recently as well.
56 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, that's good company. Good company. I'll take that.
If he continues this up,
he keeps improving every year. Stats-wise, every single year, he's improving. I was talking about Bella. Every single year, he keeps improving.
The past 2 years, he's had 36, and now he's at 20 with 7 games in, so...
It's
looking pretty good, but... Is due, and that's really it for the game, apart from the injuries, so... Mason Wood went off with that concussion in the second half, so he will miss round 8 against Fremantle, and Lance Collard looked like he limped off the field. I think he's pretty fine now.
He looked fine when I saw him on Sunday.
But was just worth touching on, I think, because he did limp off the ground. And
let's hope he's not injured, but it could open another spot for midfielder, which we kind of need, to be honest.
Yeah, are you taking Lance out even if he's not injured?
What did he do on the weekend?
So what do you want him to do?
He had 3 touches.
We've backed him 2 weeks in a row. I think we're going to back him again.
The fact that you just know that is crazy.
Disrespect Lance.
Hey.
There's not a podcast with disrespecting Lance ever. Yeah.
Should have gone the other side, but
Shout out Lance. He is the GOAT, of course. But
he's a lock.
Our current injury list.
He doesn't like you.
You do it then. Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, we're too close for that kind of stuff.
The current injury list, so...
We're just good friends.
Hey, seen him at the footy once. This guy thinks he's best mates with him.
It's like Ethan and Pat Rafter.
Alright, so Hunter Clark and Mateus Filippo should both be tests for this week.
Nobody even gets that at all. That's the funny thing. Nobody even knows who Ethan is.
Ethan's our producer.
Shout out producer Ethan.
Ethan's a bad Collingwood fan. And yeah.
Injury list.
He's good mates with Pat Rafter.
Injury list.
Injury list.
Injury list.
Injury list. Connor Clark and Matthias Filippo are both tests for this week against Fremantle. Not 100% confirmed, but
Filippo straight in for me.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. But Mason Wood will miss 1 week with the concussion, hopefully. Dan Butler and Patrick Said will miss 1 to 2 weeks.
Did you get confirmation on that last name?
I did.
Yes.
It is Said. Ooh. We got the confirmation.
Big time.
I can probably play it on here.
I'm pretty glad Dan Butler's only 1 to 2 weeks away, because at the moment we kind of need that small forward pressure. Like, Collard, as good as he is not providing that pressure. I'm not saying Brad Hill provide that pressure. I'm not saying Max Hall, when he's in the forward line, really provide that pressure. So I think we need that little aggressiveness in the forward line.
He played 1-2's game, coming back from injury, and then re-injured himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
He also played like mid in that game, which I heard.
Yeah.
Mate, get Patrick Said in as well. He's a small forward. Yeah. And the confirmation, it is Said. Where is it? Said. Is it going to play? Said. There we go. It is Said. It is Said. We got the confirmation from the man himself. But Zane Cordy, we all know how to pronounce his last name.
The Zote.
Looked good on media day today, Zane.
He did for Spud's game. He'll miss 3 months, which is a bit sad. Get the Zote back in the team. And Paddy Dow and Max King are both TBC, but I'm ready to just rule out Max for the rest of the year at this rate.
I feel like we should. We're not doing anything.
He's predicted to come back, from what I read, about like around 16 to 17.
Yeah, just shut him down.
He was 1 week away.
I don't even bother playing him until round 20. Give him 3 or 4 games as a runway till finals, if we can make finals. But if we can't make finals, there's no point even risking it. Just get him to full health.
Round 1 next year, he's back.
Literally,
that will be. I'm calling it now. He won't play this year. He'll be round 1 next year.
Sure, I got a week, by the way.
Good.
But on to the VFL now. So Sandy went down by 49 points to Brisbane VFL.
Mm-hmm.
That is not right. I've uploaded the wrong one, but
this is exactly what Sandy Zeb's Instagram did too.
I've uploaded the wrong one.
They uploaded the wrong one too, and I was like, hang on, did we win?
Was this the score from last week, just with the wrong team?
Yeah, I think it was when we beat the Dogs.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's such a funny mistake.
Not great, but I did upload the right one to the Instagram, thankfully. 44, 5 goals, 14 to Brisbane, 93, 13, 15. And as for the players-wise, so Hugh Boxall ended the game with 24 disposals, 13 contested, 10 tackles, 8 clearances, 5 score involvements, along with 2 behinds.
That's the stat line we want to see from an AFL player. So keep it up, Hugh, and you will get your chance potentially this week.
Get him in.
Where would you play him? Just like mid?
Right next to Macrae. Nah. I swear to God, if we play another debutant as sub, I'm going to go insane.
Who are you going to sub then? You're going to sub?
You'd probably put, I don't know, Max Hall as sub. He can go there.
As much as I love Max Hall, right, he is the perfect sub because he can play forward and mid.
Well, I feel like that's Zach Jones. I feel like Zach Jones is perfect sub.
Yeah, you could play Zach Jones. I wouldn't mind Ronnie Burns in the sub, please.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Fingers crossed.
But Ari Schoenmaker, so he gained 29 disposals, 14 from kick-ins, which we're going to talk about a bit later. We've made a bit of a discovery with Schoenmaker's game at VFL level.
Game breakers.
Had the 7 marks, 5 intercepts while going at 83%. To me, he's still not showing enough defensively to be getting a game, especially if we want to play him as a key defender.
I don't understand. Why just try him on the wing?
I don't know why.
What are we doing? He's not defending.
Especially Wood's out this week. We can try
He's not trying to defend.
But
what are we putting him there for?
If you put him as a wing, he can't take his kick-ins, which are...
He can still run.
We'll talk about that later. But
then again, he doesn't need to kick-ins. I'd rather him have 10 meaningful disposals than 17 disposals and 7 of them
100%. That's the argument we're going to make.
It's all about where you can fit him in and how you can utilize him, because you have to use his strengths.
Weird player.
He's a very one-sided player. So if you can't get the best out of his strengths, there's no point even bothering playing him.
Ross won't care about the stat sheet.
No.
I know Ari probably will, but if you want to play, you can't care about your stats. You got to do your role.
So Hasty, he's one that could definitely come back into this team as well. 24 disposals, 6 marks, 3 tackles, and 4 intercepts. To me, he's definitely a fringe 23 player at the moment. And week in, week out just seems to be getting better.
Yeah. The only thing I'd want to see is, we haven't really seen it at AFL level, where he's sort of found this consistency around that 20 disposals. Obviously, it's difficult as a young player. But I want to see a huge game from him, because I think he's a step above VFL level at the moment.
Yeah.
I just want to see him get 33 disposals, 10 marks, and 8 score involvements. I want to see him get really involved everywhere. And that's sort of when you can bring him in.
Yeah.
I would, I know I said I was defending him 2 weeks ago, but just potentially you'd put him on the wing and take out Ronnie Burns. But
yeah, got him.
That's not in my teams. I'm just saying that's a potential thing we could change.
I might change that to my teams.
If we put him in he plays wing and half back in the VFL, and then we put him in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Or a sub. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I would still rather him play a full VFL game than come on for 1 quarter at AFL level.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Don't put him as a sub. Take out Burns. Put Burns in the VFL.
But
or even Burns as a sub.
I reckon every game Hasty has ever played, he's been subbed on or off.
Yeah. Sounds about right, to be honest.
Another player who did really good was Harry Boyd. Just continues his dominant VFL form with 18 disposals, 7 clearances, and 33 hitouts. I know, Cooper, you're a bit of a fan of the big Boyd, but
I'm a fan of 2 actual rucks.
I still can't see him at AFL level
Definitely
until
not.
he develops his forward craft a bit more.
Fair enough.
And Alex Taru finally showed us what he is all about with 17 disposals, 8 marks, 5 tackles, along with 9 intercepts.
Oh, my God.
And I wrote here, we could well and truly see the Flying Viking unleashed on Fremantle this Friday at Marvel.
This was written what time?
This was written about 9 o'clock last night.
And then at 4:30 today,
he
comes
has been
out.
ruled out for 4 weeks. So
That's bullshit.
4 weeks.
let's get to the fan reactions to this.
He's
shall we?
playing.
Absolutely horrendous call, in my opinion.
So
I don't think it's 4 weeks.
Checking in Twitter posts now, there's still not one comment for Tyru being actually suspended.
yeah, so posted for the
Shoulder charge,
thoughts.
take the 4 weeks, no fighting that.
There's one.
The first comment that I read.
There's one.
Asked for the thoughts. So got a challenge, nothing in it from Jack. We got Cam with Hurts. This has been suspended, but looks the goods. We've got Maddie with this is a literally a perfect hip and shoulder, no head contact, no point of eye contact.
Well, I'd argue
Don't
if he got
100%
concussed,
agree with that if he's gotten concussed.
Yeah.
Told the other guy to get bigger, I reckon.
We've got Addison, doesn't even look like you got him in the head. G Downs, I do not understand how it's 4 weeks. Looks like he hardly even got him high.
Yeah, 4 weeks is a bit much.
Jonty Sticks, didn't touch him.
I mean, you look at... Okay, I'll give an example. You look at this one, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Remember the Tom Stewart hit on Dion Prestio from 3 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was also 4 weeks. Which one's worse? Where you run into a player or you both run into each other and you go like this? Or where you basically almost kill the bloke?
Yeah.
Which one's worse?
That's pretty bad.
I agree.
And that's all the responses I'll go through for now because I can't be bothered going through the comments. But
He looked so good too.
yeah, but it's pretty much the same response from everyone. It should not have been suspended for that action.
Fingers crossed we can take that 4 down to 0.
I
Get
hope
that
so.
Carlton lawyer in there now.
I know.
Do it.
Even if we can get it, because it's, we said before the podcast, it says it's a 4-week ban, but it's basically a 6.
Yeah.
So you're not bringing him straight back in, and then we have a bye. So it's 6 weeks of him not playing at least AFL, and we've got a couple Sandy buys in there too.
Yeah, it's
So he'll be playing in
great.
June at the earliest, which is, it's not,
Yeah.
I don't
And
think that's fair
he was
for that.
about to come in as well from all the reports.
Yeah, I think, I know Jay Clark talks to Ross a lot, so I think
Yeah.
it's a bit of an inside scoop there.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's just when we need him to.
Oh,
It's like,
exactly.
Come on, man. Why you got to do this to
Yeah.
us?
He would have taken the third forward, which would have been Oscar
Perfect.
McDonald,
Would have been
Yeah.
Could have
perfect
been-
for him.
Josh Battle replacement, whoever that bloke is.
Yeah, but one man who could come in. So Liam Henry, after his disappointing season debut against the Bulldogs, he found his touch again at VFL level with 17 touches. We could see him on Friday night, but I wonder if we keep him in the VFL.
Against his former team. Forget about that.
True. Well, actually, it might be worth
Ooh.
playing him then.
Yeah.
Did he play last year?
No,
Yeah.
he was
can't
in.
remember.
He was injured.
There's a little
I
bit of
think.
fire in him. That'll be good.
Oh, no, he did play. Actually.
Yeah, I think he did. But, I mean, it was a shocking game last year. I remember it was really low scoring.
Paddy Dow kicked a goal. I was happy.
That Paddy Dow goal was great.
That's about it.
Leaving off Paddy Dow highlights and big old 2024.
Was that Jimmy's second game back and he just knocked another bloke out?
Maybe.
It was Michael Frederick, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was like, oh, no, not again.
Got nothing for it, too.
Yeah.
Good on you, Jimmy.
But just some other names to quickly mention: Liam O'Connell, Toby Travalia, Jack Carroll, and Max Heath. I thought all played pretty good games of footy on the weekend.
Where does Jack Carroll sit in the midfield power rankings for us?
It is so hard to figure that out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't rate any of our midfielders, to be honest.
But how close does he get into a game, or how many injuries does he have to wait for?
It's almost pretty close.
I mean, if you want to drop Ronnie Burns, he's a pretty good replacement for him. He's not an actual midfielder. He is that probably more so winger that likes to play in midfield against lesser opposition.
Fair enough.
I mean, you look at what Paddy Dow was doing for us at the end of last year. So in his last 4 games, 46% centre bounces, 73%, 68, 69% centre bounce attendances. Jack Carroll, they're not exactly the same player, but they're pretty similar. I wonder if he could come in and have that sort of same impact as a Dow did at the end of last year. I feel
like it's something you got to trial. We're not doing much this year, premiership-wise.
No.
There's nothing to look. He's got potential. He showed potential at Carlton. It was a very odd delisting by them. We just like taking their second place.
I don't know. Yeah. It just sort of came out of nowhere as well. Yeah. I remember Callum Toomey just reported it out the blue that he was signing with us on the last day of free agency.
I think it was I think we were on Curtis Taylor for a bit too, and then we dropped off him, and then
he's at Collingwood VFL now or something. Yeah, because I thought he's a Perth boy. I thought he was going to go home, Carroll, but he's with us now.
Well, I think it's just that comfortability with he knows who he's taking. He knows the player profile. Obviously, Sauce, he knows everything, apparently.
Yeah.
And Sauce just loves taking his scraps back.
That he does.
It's going to be real good when he gets Silvani, TDK.
Yeah, he's out of contract and he just had an injury, so there goes that money.
Apparently, there's not much talks of a new contract, so...
Jeez. That's actually, no. Legally is better.
Yeah.
Take legally. We can get both of them.
We need
He's not worth... What is he worth, Silvani? Nowhere near it.
Probably 6 max.
Yeah, I'd be offering 6 right now.
And I think Carlton would probably be, if that...
I don't think they'd be able to afford more than 5.
6, yeah.
No.
We're taking TDK too. Suck shit.
Yeah.
And we're beating them in 2 weeks.
Yep, well, for taking TDK, he'd probably be able to get offered more.
True. Yeah, that is a really good point. But we should get into who's in and who's out for this week against Fremantle. So, Cooper, I'll let you go first. You never really go first with these things.
This is my segment now, is it? The ins and outs?
Yep,
all right.
Yep.
So, pending on fitness, I'm bringing Filippo straight back in.
Yep.
I think we all agree on this.
Fair.
Come straight back 100%. In. Look, if we were in a better position midfield-wise, I'd probably have him a week in the 2s.
Oh, there's no VFL next week.
Oh, there you go. So, yeah. You got to get him straight back in, I reckon. And then Spud's game, you'd have and then really a launch onto the G next week, which would be good. And I've also got Hugh Boxall.
Boxall. We don't have the Pat Said video like we need.
Yeah. No, unfortunately.
Message him.
I might have to.
Debuting, I feel like he's shown a lot in the VFL. I think Toby's close to getting selection, but not yet. I know he's obviously debuted, but just not coming back in yet. And then my outs at the moment are obviously Wood, and I'm dropping Garcia, which I'm be very surprised if they didn't do after subbing him off.
Yeah.
Just 2 quarters in. But
that's fair.
If Filippo is not available, I think I would like to see Hasty come back in. That's my selections.
Yeah, fair enough.
They'll be right. So just you don't have to look at Thursday night. This is it.
Yeah, how many predictions have you got right this year?
Lance Collard game-stealing goal against Port. That was one.
Nice.
Thanks, bro.
That was a very good one. What about you, Ben? What are your changes?
I've only got the 3 changes. I've got a toss-up in my mind of one where I've got Wood obviously out. I've got dropping Burns. I think, again, I just don't see it with him. I think there were some really good passages where he laced 2 players up and then would drop the mark, and that was shocking. But there are also plays where he just missed simple handballs. And I think with our midfield really not firing, you can't be doing that. You got to be doing everything right. And I've dropped Marcus Wintager as well. I've dropped Windy.
Wow.
He was atrocious with the ball in hand. Yep.
I didn't even read
He
that.
was. He had 20 touches at under
For sure.
50%.
I've got some questions for this if you'd like to answer. No Garcia dropped?
No, guys, I think we back him in to continue.
Dropped a quarter and a half in, you're not dropping him.
Not dropping
Okay.
him.
Okay.
No.
And Burns dropped. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
All right.
I don't like it.
And then my 3 ins, I'm going O'Connell back in. I think against a really tall Fremantle forward line, he's a really good player to go on Michael Frederick.
Yep.
I think he's the good matchup there and allows Webster and Stocker to be able to get their Bolton and Switkowski types. And then I'm going Philippou in. I believe that we need that midfielder. We've talked a lot about him. I believe all 3 of us will have him in if he's fit. And then I'm also going Hugh Boxall in. I think if one of them, if Philippou's not in, I think we go Henry in instead. They can both play that similar mid-forward roles and can spend sort of inverse percentages. You can go Henry 30% forward, 30% midfield, 70% forward, and then Philippou does the opposite. So it's just sort of a flick of a couple changes. And then Boxall, I just think it'll be really exciting to see another debutant. And I really hope that we do play him because he's got some serious potential. I'm a huge fan of this kid. I think what he can do on the inside, maybe not with McRae in there, but in the future he will be an absolute gun. Seriously.
100%. And for me, I'm swinging the axe. It's not something we've done
Jeez.
at all this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gone Philippou in. I think he just loves playing. Doesn't love playing footy, but I'm sure he loves playing footy. But he not only adds to our midfield, but he also adds to our leadership. He is not in the leadership group, but before the season,
he will be.
Looked like he should have been. The way he was training and demanding other players.
He's got future captain, I reckon, written all over him.
I've gone Hasty in. I think he's shown enough at VFL level.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boxall as well, so we're all backing in Boxall to debut this week. And O'Connell as well. Feels up to me O'Connell would have been playing last week, but didn't make the decision then. I think it's time to make it now. So for my outs, obviously that's forced. Garcia, Burns and Webster as well. I think Webster can be managed this week.
This is Ronnie Burns hate I'm not liking.
Hey, mate, you literally said it during the podcast.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, but I'm not dropping him because
it's less to do about
loyal.
Ronnie Burns, the player, and Angus Hasty coming in instead of him.
Yeah, okay.
They're very similar players too. They're both outside. They're both good with the ball at their feet. It's just about how they can impact the game. I think this might be a rest week for Brad Hill. I think we wouldn't be surprised with that.
Yeah.
Just if we want to get that really physical side, he's one that's definitely not that. So that's the only thing I could potentially see.
Everybody
as
have
an outside shout.
Did everybody have Tyroo?
I would have had Tyroo.
I would have had Tyroo.
And who was out for him?
I would have just replaced him with O'Connell. I wouldn't have put O'Connell in. That's all.
Fair enough.
I had Keeler.
I'd Keeler too.
I think, again, if we want to play tall against Amos and Tracy, we're going to need to obviously keep Howard and Caminiti in my opinion.
100%.
I was doing Caminiti forward, Tyroo back.
Yeah, potentially. What was I going to say? I was going to say Liam O'Connell and Liam O'Stocker.
Liam O'Stocker, mate.
That's a funny one. I want to see both Lambs play together. We saw the courageous mark from O'Connell.
Have they not played together?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they have.
I don't think so. I don't think Stocker was there.
They've
Yeah,
definitely
he
played
shut down
together.
Dangerfield, didn't he? Oh, yeah.
They've definitely played together. You're wrong.
Just out.
This
Okay.
podcast is in all sorts right now.
Oh, no. Bit rusty because we didn't do it last week.
Yeah. Just take jabs at me, why don't you?
But on to our most popular segment by the fans. It is, of course, the fan questions. For question 1 from Barb, we've got, why was Ari dropped?
Why wasn't he dropped?
You guys can take this one. You guys have done research on it.
Last night we were up looking at the VFL stats and I found something pretty interesting. So Ari Schoenmaker in the round 1 of the VFL, so that's round 2 for us, had 31 disposals. That's pretty good when you're just looking at the stats, right? 17 kick-ins.
Yep. It's outrageous.
That is outrageous. VFL round 2, 30 touches off of 13 kick-ins. Then 29 touches in round 3 off of 5 kick-ins, so that's a lot better.
Good work.
And then round 5, so this past week against the Lions, 29 kick-ins. 29 disposals for 14 kick-ins. So, just for reference, him and Lockie Whitfield are completely different players, but just to reference just how absurd the number of kick-ins he's getting at the moment. So Lockie Whitfield in 2024 had 147 kick-ins, which was most in the AFL. He averaged 6 a game. Ari Schoenmaker is currently averaging 12 kick-ins a game off of essentially the same amount of disposals per game.
Taking the piss out of it. I mean, obviously you need the team to kick inaccurately. It would have been interesting to see if he played this week, given they kicked, 17 goals, 18 or something crazy. It would have been interesting to see what 40. He did.
Yeah.
Very easily. 17 kick-ins in a game is wild.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be an AFL record, surely.
Yeah.
AFL
it just shows you can't always... it just shows you can't always look at the stats when it comes to these things. Otherwise, he'd 100% be playing each week with the amount of disposal he gets. But, yeah, those kicking numbers aren't great. And it's partially Sandy's fault as well. They should be spreading it around a bit more. Give some to Hasty. Give some to O'Connell. Give some to Taru when he's back in 4 weeks. But
watch him launch it from 80 metres. Just
he can kick a ball.
He can. I can't wait to see it. I mean, I reckon kick it too. We know he can. They just haven't utilised it in the best way possible. Daniel Rich and Graham Birchall, those are the two players I compared him to. They were getting up the ground. They were launching it from outside 50 multiple times a game. Get him to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I get it's hard for him because he's less of a half-back and more of a key medium defender when he does play, and that's a bit of a need more than where he should be playing. But get him forward half. It's something we've said all year at this point. Just give him one game on a wing. Give him one game as even... You know what? Play him key forward. Centre half forward. See
what you can do. Provide that connection. He's a really good kick. See if he can provide that connection. But as to reason why he was dropped, stats are very heavily inflated, and he is just not defensively solid enough yet.
We can't play him there.
No. I think it's time to give up on him as a defender. I don't think it's time to give up on him, but give up on him as a defender at AFL level.
Yep. Agreed.
And question 2 from, I must say that's Rosie Gard, is thoughts on Ross's treatment of Garcia. Seems a bit hypocritical given Steele's form. So how do we feel about this, guys?
I talked about this a fair bit earlier, so you can take this one, Cooper.
Well, I feel like a bit hypocritical from Steele's form. I think Steele would definitely cop it behind the doors. I feel like it would be a very bad look having a spray at your captain on the bench.
Jimmy Bartel was saying it on Footy Furnace, whatever their show is, on Sunday nights, that after the game there was a massive spray handed out to the players and the leadership group. So
as they deserve, besides Wilkey.
So Steele definitely got that spray.
But my actual thoughts on the Ross's treatment to Garcia, I feel like it's good.
Yeah,
I
like it.
I know it was well received internally at the club, eventually afterwards, that I think everyone needs to actually lock in. But I feel like it's a great learning curve for Hugo too, because he's whatever he did wrong, which I'm guessing we'll never know, he's not going to do again. There's no way he's going to do it again. He's just been embarrassed from his club and now on media for everybody. He's not going to do it again. It's going to be great for him.
Yeah, I hope so. And do you want to add anything else to that, Ben? Or?
Not really. I talked about it a fair bit earlier. Is it hypocritical though? I don't know. I
don't think so.
Because as you just mentioned, he has gone at it. And the only problem is that one was in the media's eye, one clearly wasn't. That's the only problem that I'd have with it. Is he's a really young player. He's only played 12 games, I think, now. So it's very much not necessarily the right time or place to do it on the bench in front of everyone. But again, it's something that everyone would have looked at and said, I need to pull myself in line here. I need to start doing what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. And on to question 3 from A. Felino. How do Collard and Keeler both get games over Boxall and Heath? So, Cooper, you're the big Collard man. Why is he getting a game over those two players?
Well, Collard's the greatest small forward we've ever seen at the AFL level, so that's probably why. Firstly, Boxall, I'm guessing Boxall and Collard would be the swap. They don't play the same position.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not playing Boxall.
None of the players there, Heath and Keeler, they're both sort of forward rucks, but none of them, they all play different positions. They are all 4 completely different players, not only by name, but by position.
Well, Collard was a end of first, start of second round pick.
Yep.
He's got the potential. It's going to take a while for a small forward in a very unfunctioning forward line right now to actually keep going.
Yeah, it's hard to get opportunities.
He's kicking goals when we're winning. He needs to start kicking goals when we're losing. but I reckon he'll get there. And with the Keeler and the Heath one, Heath plays really well in one game.
Yeah,
and just can't back it up in the next game. You're not picking him on one game.
No.
But I think Boxall does come in.
And for Keeler, like, sure, he hasn't been playing the greatest, but like it's more just like he's only the key forward we have at the moment.
We looked very bad without him, which says a lot.
What did he miss? He missed one game in the end or two games in the end?
2 games, I think.
Like, we looked terrible without just having that key forward in there to at least take a defender. Like, you put Heath in there, I don't think it works as well.
Didn't play the Dogs or GWS game, and we just...
did not look great at all.
Yeah, exactly. I know the first quarter for the Dogs game, we looked good, but besides that, we kept kicking down the line. It was just intercepted each time.
At least Keeler is able to present when we're forced to kick it down the line.
It's just for structure. You got Collard and Higgins at his feet. You can't go down with his feet. Sharman's not tall enough to take those big.
He's a great marks, but he's not taking the crazy pack marks that you expect a key forward would.
That's why I feel like we should have, when Dogs and GWS, we should have played Ari in the half forward. Yeah. If we're taking out Keeler.
Try it.
I think something that also has gone unnoticed is we want to be quick, right?
Yeah.
You look at Collard and Keeler. Collard's really quick, and Keeler can move for a big fella, right?
Did we see his goal on the weekend?
He was very good, right? And he can also get in the right contest and jump. He provided a really good hit out to advantage to someone that they're able to get inside 50 with. Compare that to Boxall and Heath. First of all, Heath's very similar to Boyd that we saw in round 1, where they're just slow, lumbering ruckmen, and along with Marshall, you can't have that. It just doesn't work in your team together. Which is why targeting to Koning's really good, is because he's fantastic around the ground. He's quick and he's smart. And Boxall's, again, that sort of midfielder who's not quick. He's not going to get around the ground and beat a player when he's bursting through a stoppage. He's going to get down and do the dirty work for you. So something that neither of you mentioned was the quickness that they provide is something that we're really strong with. We want to be fast. We want to be able to run out games. And Boxall and Heath aren't necessarily doing that at the moment.
100%. And I definitely agree with that one. But on to the fourth and final question. Was giving Ross a contract extension a good idea now? I still agreed that it was a good extension. Just backing in him, his system, his ideas and his strategies. I think everyone is pretty happy with where the club's going at the moment.
Yep.
I don't think anyone's a bit like, why aren't we in a grand final at the moment? Because we're not supposed to be.
When Ross leaves, it will be on his own terms.
Yeah.
He won't get sacked or anything. He will leave on his own terms.
In my opinion, it's going to be a succession plan with him and Enright, or him and Goddard potentially. I know Goddard's doing a lot of coaching work with the VFL. I believe he is the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the two that he'll probably be developing. That's probably why he's been a fair bit of hands-off now with the game plan, is because he wants to get those two going. But at the same time, like, what he showed on the weekend is exactly why we need him. He showed that, yes, he can be Cuddly Ross, but also when we need it and when it's deserved, he will give you a spray.
Yep.
And with younger players, they need to find that fine line between, okay, I'm not at my best, but whether I can get back there by myself or do I need a push? And Ross is providing that push now. We haven't seen it before. He was very comfortable because we had a lot of leaders performing. At the moment, none of our leaders are performing to the levels that we expect on a consistent basis, I should say.
Yep.
So he's providing that push for them, but also showing that the young guys, they need to be there to help support them, right? Understand having a quiet game, but at the same time, you're what's going to be where this club goes in the next 5 years. You are going to be the important pieces. So I'm going to show you how a coach should help you, and also where you're going to be with the leaders in the future.
Yeah. You want to add anything?
No, he says exactly what everybody else is thinking half the time.
Apart from Ryan Burns, like.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Give me a spell.
He's going to watch this and he's going to be very, very sad. When
Did you tell him on the weekend to watch the Saints Nation podcast?
I didn't see him. I didn't see Ronnie Burns.
Oh, you saw Lance Collin. Never mind. I had schizo.
On to next week's game against Freo. How are we feeling going into this, boys?
Annoyingly confident.
Yeah, I am for some reason confident. I think it's less to do with us and more to do with them, like in their form away from home at the moment.
They play a similar game style with a whole slow, blocky game style too. But
yeah, get Henry in there. Hopefully a revenge game for him and Ross.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because their midfield is going to kill us again, right? So we've gone from top three midfield, arguably top three midfield.
Yeah.
Who do you tag out of the two?
Sarong's been getting the tag at the moment.
Yeah, but
and
going off
Brayshaw's been
super
taken.
coach, you want to tag Brayshaw?
You don't even want to tag either of them, to be honest. You got to tag Hayden Young. I think he's the most damaging of those three.
Yeah, his
right?
kicking is
Sarong's in and under. Brayshaw's your all-around midfielder. Hayden Young's the forward-leaning midfielder. You put someone to Bolton, you don't allow his creativity to get flowing, and they don't have a lot of forward outlets. You put someone to Jordan Clark, their ball movement off of halfback really slows.
Jeez, they're talented.
You don't allow Luke Ryan to intercept the ball. They can't force turnovers.
Yeah.
So there are some key plays that if you do manage to get to, they do have quiet games. It's a very winnable outfit for you to go at. I think their small forwards will be a real danger for us.
Yeah,
I
can't
think-
let Bolton get off the chain.
Can't let Bolton. Switkowski always plays well against us. Michael Frederick will always kick a goal. Bailey Banfield will always kick some goal from a free kick that he'll somehow get. I just think
McDonald's the one.
Yeah, like looking at the key position matchups, it's also going to be interesting. Darcy's been horrible for them in his first 2 weeks. So whether Marshall really goes
Is there
at
a
them.
chance Jackson's back this week?
I feel like he's
Potentially.
close.
He's
It's either
close.
this week or next week.
I hope they don't rush him back, but I wouldn't be surprised. But they did win on the weekend. So that's that. I'm glad they won on the weekend, to be honest, because it's really good for us that they are not coming off a loss.
Luke Jackson will
everybody-
be a test.
So he'll play. Let's just say he's playing. That's annoying.
When they do that, they don't play good against us, though. I feel
Correct. And that's always what allows Marshall to have really good games when he's got two ruckmen to go against. I think he has a really good game, to be honest. That's my prediction. I think he gets over 22 touches and a goal. That's my bold prediction for the game.
Rory Marshall legacy.
Yeah. Big performance from him. And look at the keys. I hope we stay tall because you got Tracy, you got Amos, you got McDonald potentially, if not Jackson or Darcy, is the resting ruck. You're going to need Wilkie, Caminiti, and Howard all against those three.
100%.
Yep.
Taru would have been real handy right now.
Hey, we're going to challenge. He's getting off. He's playing.
We better.
Are we now?
I haven't seen anything from the club yet.
No,
about it.
It's
Surely
been an
challenge it.
hour. We've got to challenge it, but again, it's been an hour. Teams normally do it the day later that they say they challenge it.
Yeah, should we get on to our predictions? I know you jumped into yours there, Ben, but
finish it off, Ben.
what's your prediction for the game itself?
Prediction for the game. I think we start out really strong. I think that first quarter we get out to maybe a 4-goal lead. I don't know who kicks the goals, but
Lance?
really... Ryan Burns kicks the goal, does he?
Nah, he's sub.
So you're finally on the page.
He'll kick 3 in the last.
We heard it here first. Ryan Burns is kicking 3 goals in the last quarter.
Chuck it in the multi.
It's about $800 odds.
But,
Actually insane.
for me, so I'll say Saints win by 9. I am, for some reason, just a bit confident going into this game. And for my bold prediction, Nasiah will attend more than 60% of centre bounces this week.
I like that. I like that.
And
So you're saying our midfield's going to be shit from the start. And we're going to
Yeah.
get Nas in there. Yeah, fair enough.
get him in there right now. What about you, Cooper? What are you going with?
Look, Saints win this by 2 goals. I think we get, as what Bem said, we get to a good lead and they bring it back. I think we win this by around 2 goals. Now, this is a Jack Steele legacy game. This is a Jack Steele comeback game against one of the best midfields in the comp. It's going to be him and McRae. McRae will do his thing.
McRae to kick his first goal.
Jack Steele will have 30 and a goal.
30
Wow,
and a goal.
Look at you go.
And he'll
Jeez.
have at least a 2 or 3 votes in a win.
Okay.
That's my bold goal.
I've got a question.
And Lance kicks 4. But yeah.
Okay. I've got a question for you guys because my cousin has been on me about this. He wants to see Jack Steele plays a small forward.
No.
2021, we put him forward a bit, and he worked.
Yeah.
Not as a small forward.
No, not as small forward, but like he won out in the goal square. It worked a couple times.
Sort of
because-
like what Danger's doing right now.
Kind of, but again, like it's the midfielder who can push up to the stoppage, but also it allows him to get back to a player that if he needs to lock down, he could go to Zorko. Theoretically, he could go to Jordan Clark if it's this week against Fremantle.
I wouldn't hate it, but then again, like we're then taking him out the midfield. We have to put someone else in
I feel
there.
like he
Hugh
should start.
Buxall,
I feel like
Philippou.
True.
I know this is contradicting what I just said about him having a big game, but I feel like it would be great for him to tag again.
This guy gets
Maybe a Brayshaw and have Winhager to Sarong.
Yeah.
Have the
just-
double tag.
Why don't we
it
just
doesn't
tag all
work.
their mids?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like
get Steele, Windy, and Hugo Garcia all in there.
Do
Yeah,
it.
you guys are done.
still tag. 3 tags.
That would be the funniest Ross Lyon thing I've ever
Sean
seen.
Darcy versus Marshall, and that's about it, because everyone else is getting tagged. No, but I feel like you get Steele a tag, get him run through roll. Like, not a heavy tag, but like, he was such a great tagger back before he was let off the leash a bit.
Yeah.
But you get him back into it. He's finding some ball more, and then you kick a couple goals, and we'll win.
I hope
and
so.
then also takes out one of their mids.
True.
Yeah, I think it would work.
That it does.
Hopefully, but I think that is it for episode 5. Hopefully, we'll come back in episode 6 with a win as we head into Spuds game. We should have our Spuds game jumpers by then.
Mine will be here next week.
They shipped today. I don't know if you got one, Ben, did you?
I'm not rich enough to buy one.
Come on, get your name on it.
Just get it as a tax write-off, mate.
He said you cannot be laughing like that.
So get ready for next week.
Unacceptable.
We'll show
have
it.
Our Spuds game jumpers in. And yeah, hopefully we get up. Make sure to rate us 5 stars on Spotify if you're listening on there, or if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you give us a like and subscribe to never miss another episode. And we'll see you in the next one.